2014, then it's the rally against debt. Now, there's been an entirely false debate in this country going on, and it goes a bit like this. The government is slashing everything, and libraries are closing, and low-paid people are losing their jobs, and isn't it awful that these massive Thatcherite cuts are being put in place? The other side of the argument comes from George Osborne, who says the cuts are necessary and that we have to reduce the national debt. Let's get one thing absolutely clear. There is nothing in the spending plans between now and 2014 that will pay off our national debt by a single penny piece. Government expenditure is going up, not down. And one of the points that we want to make, we discovered in Barnsley recently that there were 7 people working for Barnsley Council earning more than £100,000 a year. But there was absolutely no question of any of them taking pay cuts or losing their jobs, and yet gravediggers on £15,000 a year were losing their jobs and libraries were closing. So we want to make it clear that we need cuts. We want to make it clear that it's the marzipan layer of local government are not being affected. And we want to make it clear that not a penny more of British taxpayers' money should be spent on euro bailouts. We want to make it absolutely clear that we regard giving £48 million a day to Brussels, as our membership of this union is giving us bad value for money. And we also ask the question, now that the government has taken sides in a civil war in Libya, how much is that going to cost us? So from that little lot, you get a fairly big shopping list of real, good, sensible cuts that could be made, and we could perhaps keep a few more local libraries open.
This is my daughter, she's 4 years old. She said to me this morning, "Daddy?" I said, "Yes, darling." She said, "Daddy?" "Yes, darling." "When's George Osborne going to spark expansionary fiscal contraction?" She said, "Can I have some more lollipops?" She's 4 years old. She's £17,000 in debt, thanks to Gordon Brown. In 4 years' time, thanks to George Osborne, if he doesn't cut, she's going to be £19,000 in debt. That's immoral. It's a lot of lollipops. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to say one thing. The last demo I was at the Berlin Wall in 1989. So my message from Berlin to now, my second demo, is George Osborne, tear down this debt.
Well, thank you. Good morning, everybody. We are not here today to celebrate the fact that libraries are closing and that people on low salaries in the public sector are losing their jobs. That is not what this is about. What this rally is about is it's time for us to get real. Let's face up to the truth. Our public finances are in a total shambles. Britain is skint, and we've got the courage today to stand up and face up to that. Mr. Blair created, through local government and through the plangocracy, a marzipan layer of people in this country earning big six-figure money with guaranteed final salary pensions, and that's the place the cuts need to start in this country. Let's get rid of that marzipan layer and let's do it now. I get very annoyed when I see this debate about the cuts on the BBC. Let's get real. There are no cuts. George Osborne is increasing expenditure. There is nothing that will be done in the lifetime of this Parliament to pay off the national debt by a penny piece. And that's why I pay tribute to the young people that got today organised, because they realise that they will otherwise spend the whole of their working lives paying taxes just to service that debt, let alone to pay any of it back. So well done to all the young people who organised this today. But there's one particular area of expenditure that I feel very strongly about. And it may surprise some of you to hear. Well, come on, if you go to a Tom Jones concert, you want Delilah, don't you? What are we doing? When Greece goes belly up through the IMF, we have to help them with the bailout. When Ireland goes wrong, we lend them £7 billion. And now, of course, Portugal's gone wrong. And that's going to cost us a further £4 billion. We have to borrow that money in the first place to lend to these countries. What kind of madness is that? as far as the euro bailouts are concerned, the message needs to be loud and clear, and it is not a penny more for the euro bailouts. And while we're at it, what on earth are we doing? Paying £48 million a day of Britain's taxpayers' money to be members of a European Union whose accounts have not been signed off by the auditors for the last 16 years in a row. Our message to the European Union should be clear: not a penny more. And not, of course, that I would wish to be controversial in any way at all, but I am struck that in the last couple of months the British government has decided to take sides in a civil war in Libya at a cost of unknown billions and a duration that perhaps will be as long as Afghanistan. When you add it all up, when you look at all of these things, when you look at the fact that we still give £300 million a year to India. I mean, India, they've got a space program. India, do you know India have even got fighter jets on their aircraft carriers? And yet we go on giving them £300 million a year. And what are we doing? Giving an extra £650 million to Pakistan over the next 4 years. We're doing it to improve their education system. Well, looking around London some days, I think we ought to spend that money making sure that we had a rather better education system. So we need cuts, and we need them now. We need to get our children and grandchildren out of indebtedness, and I hope this morning I've given you a short shopping list that if the British government put into place, people across this country would cheer to the rafters. We want action, and we want it now. Thank you.